Hello, listeners of Quality Bicycle People. Welcome to the podcast today. We have a very special guest today that we're excited to introduce in a moment here. But first, hi, Miker.
Hey, Maria, how are you?
I am doing well. We're in the prime of summer here in Portland, and probably shouldn't say this on the podcast because then it won't be a secret, but Portland in the summer is the greatest thing in the whole world. So we've been enjoying that. Lots of swimming, lots of bike riding. How about you? How have you been?
I'm doing all right. We're in the part of what unfortunately is becoming part of our normal summers of terrible smoke from some wildfires to the north. So it's not good to be outside right now, which it's kind of a bummer when you've got summer only for so much time. But
Yeah.
it's terrible out there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, hey, I'm good.
Good. Well, let's kick off how we kick off. What are you feeling stoked about in the bike world this week?
All right. So what I'm stoked about is one of our coworkers, Danielle, is riding the Great Divide route, and
What?
she took some time off. I think today is day 11 of the journey. She's going north to south, and I'm not sure. I think she's riding with some other folks, but I'm not actually positive. And they're doing it I don't want to say relaxing way but they're doing it where they can stop and swim and
Yeah.
put their feet and legs in creeks whenever they want and so forth. So, yeah, it's been kind of a treat watching her just single image or two images a day posts to Instagram that she's doing.
Nice.
Daily postcards, as she's putting it. So that's what I'm stoked about.
I'm just going to say, I think that is the only way to do something like that, in my opinion. But I guess I understand why people would want to see what they're capable of, but you'll catch me stopping in the creek every time.
I tend to believe that people in a hurry miss out on a lot of things.
Yeah. What bike is she on?
She's on a cutthroat. Yeah,
Nice.
she's on a cutthroat. I wasn't actually sure what bike she was riding, so I was kind of anxious, and then to see. And then in one of her posts, she had it sitting on a bridge over a river that they probably swam in. So
Nice. Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yep.
What have
What's got you stoked?
You know, I I was just saying that it's been such a treat being in Portland in the summer, and one thing that I feel so excited about when it's summer here is I it feels so easy to tap into the childlike wonder of being on a bike. And I was out on a ride last week with my partner, and I wanted to do sort of a different route than we've done before. So we took we took a different turn than we usually would on this loop that we do. And we ended up at the top of this intersection where there's a restaurant that sells burgers and milkshakes that I've passed so many times and have just like wanted to stop, and then I could kind of go back and forth, and then we were just like, no, we're stopping. Like, we're stopping and we're having burgers in the middle of our 30-mile ride. And it was like, you know, it was just like the sort of this feeling of freedom that comes with riding your bike, that you can just, yeah, you just like have, I feel so connected to myself in that, and having sort of that like, yeah, let's stop and have a burger. We could do whatever we want, and
Yeah,
it just feels very reminiscent to being a kid and having little to worry about. And so when I have those experiences, I feel very grateful for this hobby. And yeah, that feeling comes up a lot, but that was a very salient, like I was just cheesing from ear to ear eating my burger. And
nice.
luckily we went downhill from there.
It's a good reminder that we shouldn't always be on a schedule.
Totally. Yeah. Which is something that's really hard for me. So it feels really awesome to have my bike kind of put me in situations where I'm able to challenge that. So today's guest is coming to us actually in house from QBP. Her name's Allison Schmitz, who we are very excited to talk to. Allison's an engineer at Salsa, and she recently helped see the Fargo 32-inch bike come to fruition. We'll talk a lot about why that is a big deal, what role that has for folks under 5'4" like me. So I'm selfishly pretty excited to talk about this. And yeah, just kind of get to know what the behind the scenes is of being an engineer in the bike world. So Allison, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. This is my first podcast, so I'm
Heck
excited.
yeah. Yeah. So we're going to talk so many things design, and we want to hear all about the process, but we're curious, just about the role that bikes play in your life, and have they always been super important to you? And tell us about you and bikes outside of work, maybe.
Yeah. Um, that's funny. I wasn't always into bikes. I remember it as a child, like being on the little pumpkin seat on my dad's bike, but he would always kind of go off road on mountain bike. What I learned is now mountain bike trails, and I was kind of a chicken at that time, so I didn't really enjoy that. And I guess that kind of dissuade me from riding bikes my like older years of my childhood. So I didn't actually get into bikes fully until I was going to college at the University of Minnesota, and everyone was like, Twin Cities is so bikeable, like you should get a bike, especially because the campus like spans the river and there's a St. Paul location, so there's a lot of distance to cover. And so I like senior year, that summer before going into college, I was like, I gotta ride a bike. Like I gotta get a bike and learn. So yeah, I'm still new in this journey, but yeah, biking in the Twin Cities on the college campus was just a lot of fun. And you mentioned the word freedom. That is key in my bike riding experience. Like, it's just amazing to be able to like power yourself over such distance, and like you start in one part of the city and then you're like on 20 miles elsewhere, and it's just fun to see you cover that distance.
There's a bit of magic to it, isn't there?
There is magic, yes.
Yeah. So what was that? What was that bike? Do you remember?
Yeah. I don't know the model, but it was a Bianchi road bike that I just found for cheap. It was like bikes are aesthetics, like they are fashion in a way. And so I was like, I want that horizontal top tube, the drop bars. I didn't even know that they were called drop bars at the time. And yeah, it was a sick. I named that bike Joan, and just had a great connection, and just yeah, was able to see a lot and try a lot, and that was my first bike.
Do you still have it?
I do, but she's not been taken care of and just sits in my garage right now.
Yeah.
So, but maybe one day I'll clean her up and like get
Yeah.
some new parts on
Well,
there.
it sounds like a hard bike to part ways with. I think
It
that's,
is, yeah.
We are very pro having bikes and the multiples on this podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
If we do
So
that
you-
for ourselves or for our guests, I don't know, but we are in support.
Yes.
So you went to the U of M, and obviously you were studying some form of engineering, or
Yeah, I didn't start college studying mechanical engineering, but I quickly made the switch freshman year. And so then, yeah, focused. And I got a degree in mechanical engineering. But I also did some product design. I got a minor in product design, which is a really cool opportunity at the U to have that more like consumer goods focus. And that's really applicable here at Q. Maybe not so much in my previous job, but at Q, the two worlds are
Yeah. I was
nicely
just going to
blended.
say, I feel like not many people get to say that they're really taking their, degree and using it literally so literally in the way it's meant to be used. I certainly am not using my psychology degree that way. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So a product design, I'm curious. I've never heard of product design I guess I've never heard of it as a field of study.
Yeah. I think it could also be called industrial design.
Sure.
That's what we call it here with our ID coworkers, but I think it's the same, goes hand in hand. But yeah, more of the like, it just feels wrong to say the word design, but like, learning all of the like user research, how to conduct that, brainstorming techniques, and just like really grounded in creativity. And so you practice that. And then you also get all the skills of prototyping and working on from concept to creation.
The form, meeting, function, and so
Yeah.
forth like that.
Yeah.
Huh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
I feel like that's an awesome segue into this Fargo 32. Tell us about how you ended up on this project, and I want to hear specifically about like you and your identities that we'll continue to dive into later, but like how you as a human being, not just an employee at Salsa, showed up to this project.
Yeah. I don't have like it might sound a little mundane, but yeah, it was over a year ago, back in May of last year, that we were briefing on Fargo. And that just happened to be the next project that I was working on. And yeah, there are a lot of great minds within Q at all of our brands. And so there had already been some work on 32-inch wheels. Like people had made prototypes. That was kind of old news to some people. But my introduction to this project was, this would be a good fit. We're going to have 29 and 32-inch wheels. So yeah, I'm just trying to say like it's a team effort to help guide me on this path.
Was the aspect about making a size small, because it goes down to small or extra small?
Small.
Okay, so was the aspect of making a size small always part of the problem to be solved?
Not originally. We were
Now
thinking of
we're
just
getting
having
somewhere.
3 sizes,
Yeah.
medium through extra large. And that's kind of like, I think, how the industry had been talking about it so far, because these larger wheels do offer a more proportional experience for those larger riders. It makes sense. It's kind of like thinking about like 650B wheels on a road bike, like being better fit for smaller riders. So this is initially the project brief, but we did have people within the company that were asking questions of, well, why not have a small, and like, is it possible? And so those questions were starting to be asked. And I mean, it worked out really nicely because I'm the engineer. I am also a person who rides size small. I'm 5'3". So this was a great opportunity to utilize our in-house prototyping with our welder and just, great project wizard, Justin Ederson. And so we made some in-house prototypes for the first small 32s.
So I'll say, frankly, the rest of the industry is still saying smalls aren't manageable.
Yeah.
And these bikes have yet to hit stores. They're on the way. The frames are on the way. It's going to be interesting to see people's reactions.
Yes. I am very excited for that reaction because again, it's just a small pool of riders who have ridden these bikes so far. And I'm proof, to all the skeptics out there, like I'm speaking to the riders who ride a size small. You can handle these large wheels. You can ride this bike and have a great time. Um, but I'm curious to get more perspectives and more thoughts on that. Is this something that everybody wants? And again, we only have small, so there's opportunities for expansion too, and to capture more riders. But yeah, the Fargo 32 is special because we are challenging those fit assumptions, and I'm excited to have that smaller size offered and include more people on this new wheel size.
In your during your development of the bike, there's a bunch of constraints you have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
In my head, the the constraints get bigger. If I think about a 32-inch wheel versus a 29-inch wheel, I just think, okay, the window somehow got smaller.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
sort of the right thinking?
Yeah, so it makes sense that there's skepticism because there's already fit issues with 700C and 29-inch wheels for smaller riders. Like I have toe overlap on a lot of the bikes that I've ridden. Like it's there are things to figure out on all wheel sizes, but yeah, now we're increasing the wheel size, so it is a challenge to make sure that you have enough length in the bike, you get that wheel away from you. They're taller, they're larger wheels, so the bike is taller now too. So managing stack as well on those smaller bikes, it was definitely a challenge. But I think what's cool being a small rider, being the engineer on this project, is that I could firsthand experience those compromises. Our taller engineers can ask and get smaller riders on bikes, but they're taking that. It's not a firsthand experience. It's, yes, this is what we're going to do because this is the feedback we've received. But for me, it's like I'm also trying to get that feedback, but I also know, like, actually, yeah, standover is maybe not so much of an issue, or like, yeah, no, we don't have toe overlap, so we're good here. So I can firsthand experience those challenges.
I'm interested. Let's back up a little because I'm having this realization while we're having this conversation that I don't want to make the assumption that folks listening to this podcast know the benefits of a 32-inch wheel, and also they may have chosen to not even engage in the conversation if they're shorter riders because
Totally.
of, this is just like not for me. So why do we want a small 32-inch? I mean, the 32-inch wheel bike in general, but like what is the problem or the access that you want a shorter rider to be able to access?
There are a lot of benefits to the larger wheels. And so I think just in terms of access, like I think that smaller people also deserve to have those benefits, especially if we see it in a more competitive or professional sense. Like, well, it's kind of a bummer if the person next to you has 32-inch wheels, but you can't have that. And yeah, so just making sure that we have that access for more people. But the benefits, I mean, one kind of hinted at is just being faster. Like there's increased momentum. And so we've experienced a lot of other people on these prototypes, on these first bikes, like you're just constantly making PRs on things that you're not even trying to go faster or go harder at. The larger wheels also have better rollover. So like, that's really nice. It makes obstacles seem smaller. And then, yeah, you can roll through things more, maintain the momentum. And that's also nice for people maybe that aren't, like, I'm not the most skilled technical rider on dirt, on mountain bike trails. So just one thing that's really that this larger wheel size has unlocked for me is um, new lines and just like more trails that I like have the confidence to go on now because these wheels can kind of handle anything. They're super forgiving too. So like if you did choose a bad line, like they're gonna pull you through it. Like you're gonna be okay. Um, and yeah, just like the added comfort of the larger wheels, you can run lower tire pressures, better traction. Like all of this is it's great. Like you can go faster and farther, even if you're not trying to. Like there's just comfort and stability with these larger wheels.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because, and I've spent a grand total of about 90 seconds on one of the Fargo 32s.
Okay.
Um, but I'll say, and that was on a size medium. I'm 5'9".
Mm-hmm.
Even that 90 seconds was eye opening.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost 20 years ago that we went through this with 29-inch wheels, and I was part of Salsa at that time, and um, so many of the benefits and the negatives, right? There are
Yeah.
negatives that come with every wheel size.
Yep.
Uh, there, if they all only had a positive, we'd only be on one wheel size.
Yeah.
But it's so much of a similar conversation. It's interesting. It's a little bit difficult for me to remember what the public reaction was when 29 was being sort of first introduced and proposed. Um, in some ways, it almost feels like there was, frankly, well, honestly, I can hardly remember if social media hardly even existed then, but it it's really proving the 32-inch wheel is really proving to be a hot topic with lots of people, some people that are very excited and others that are swearing up and down they're not going there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a bunch of people that are about to find out that they're wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and that it might take a few more years,
Mm-hmm.
but their world is going to actually change a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I'm excited for the general public to be able to ride these bikes is because we have a lot to learn. Like we think we know. And I agree, like there's so many benefits to these larger wheels, but I'm excited to see what more people have to say about them. I also wasn't around, I wasn't in the bike industry, and I don't know if I was riding bikes really. I definitely wasn't riding mountain bikes where 29-inch wheels are on. So I didn't get to experience that change from 26 to 29. Like it's kind of funny that we're repeating it and that maybe this is my rite of passage of experiencing that as a bike engineer. But yeah, so I'm curious to see how people will receive these bikes.
I'll tell you my story was
Yes,
I
please.
got to be on one of the prototype Dose 9er 29-inch softail that's also made. And um, the first time I took it out, people that are familiar, Worth Park, that was my home trails, let's call them. I could kind of ride them in my sleep. They're very twisty, tight, and turny. And the first time I went down there, I had been riding a 26-inch, 4-inch travel bike.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down there with that 29er prototype, and I was having a hard time making the turns. But after a lap or two, oh, no, no, now I'm making the turns. And then I rode that proto for a year. Then one day I said, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to jump on the 26, that 4-inch travel 26, and go ride those same trails. Now I was turning into trees because had adapted and gotten used to the 29-inch wheels, and like we have this incredible power of adaptation within us.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I experienced too. Like at first it did seem like a lot of bike, like just swinging my leg over those wheels, um, like coming to stops and starts. But it is, yeah, just remarkable how quickly you can adapt. Um, yeah, same experience.
You know, and I think that the sort of greater take, I mean, the bike industry, you know, it's so easy for us to have so many opinions and to be resistant to change. I think that's like a natural human thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that we could, yeah, put this conversation back 20, 30 years in the future and just look back and be like, well, now we all ride 29-inch, but, you know, but ultimately what the conversation that we're having is having options for folks to dial their riding experience to what they want it to be. Like people don't have to, you know, we're not passing a law that's like you got to trade in your 29-inch wheel
Exactly.
bike. Like you get to make that choice.
Exactly.
And there's, you know, to your point, Allison, there's benefits that like that just are, you know, that's just how science works. These benefits are fact, and it is awesome. You know, I joked about this earlier, alluded to it. I'm 5'3" also, and it is really frustrating sometimes the things that are just hurdles for, you know, bike packing bags and you know, the stuff that you're talking about that we've just sort of like accepted. This is just part of being a shorter rider. And I think it opens up a greater conversation about access and representation. And we can sort of insert any identity into shorter rider, you know, that isn't who we traditionally see portrayed in the media as, you know, cyclists, and have a conversation about the things that we just kind of have to deal with or accept, or like we don't, that this is just the way it is. And creating a bike that gives somebody the option to purchase or never purchase, you know, this small bike is just it's awesome. And I want to hear more about how, you know, you and your identities showed up to this process in a room, you know, where it sounds like you were the minority in a couple of different ways. Like what was that like?
I don't know. I feel like I have a hard time answering that question because sometimes, like, especially with the design of these bikes too, like it's obviously there was a big focus on the small riders and in adding that size, but there's still a lot to figure out about the other sizes, the bookends as well, on either end of the spectrum. Um, so it was a great opportunity that I could bring that small experience to the prototype, to the ride testing. Again, like one of the challenges for small riders on all wheel sizes is standover. It's a balance between how much do you want in your front triangle and yeah, like can you stand over the bike? And so just like actually being in a situation where I can test that and decide for myself like what would I personally like was a really cool opportunity because again I'm still new to this industry. I've still got a lot to learn. I still have a lot of bikes to ride too and just other disciplines, and so some of these things it's like I might not even be aware of it at first, like so yeah, maybe I'm rambling.
No, I think that honestly, not being the most advanced cyclist or the most experienced cyclist, but having engineering skills is perhaps sometimes what's missing from actually finding something new.
Yeah.
And it's not just true in engineering world. It's true in every aspect of every business, that you can start to know too much and that will stop you from being inquisitive,
Yeah.
believing something else is possible,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
forth, right?
Yeah.
You can become closed-minded.
Well, and that's the thing, but that's what that's totally the thing I'm getting at is it's just like accepting and other brands accepting. Like we just can't do that in
Yeah.
that size.
Yep.
Like we just can't do that, And yeah, that's exactly the feeling of like, but what if? What if we just tried?
Yeah, another example of that's less dramatic than a 32-inch wheel is for quite a few years now, we've been able to fit 2 water bottles into some of our full suspension bike designs that, frankly, nobody was fitting 2 bottles in. Um, and then just this week, some bikes got dropped by some other brands, and now they can fit 2 water bottles in also, right? But like at some point, there was sort of this idea that, oh no, it's just not possible. And then until you look at it and you say, well, let's take that as a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine that has to be part of what you enjoy about engineering.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's constantly every day there's something new. The problem solving is always there. And so that's a fun challenge.
Can you ride bikes without thinking about engineering, or is now engineering always coming into your mind while you're riding bikes?
That's a really good question. I can tune it out if I'm trying to just, like the point of this ride is to just get outside, or maybe I'm just trying to move my body. I'm going for a workout, like let's get in the zone. But I do find myself like asking more questions and thinking as I'm riding my bikes now, because I have more tools in my toolbox. Like I am aware of more things. And so I'm just like, well, is that what I'm feeling right now? Like, what if we changed this? And so I am starting to ask those questions more, which is exciting. And that's like one of the things that I enjoy about this job is my connection to cycling, to this hobby of mine, is stronger now. And I'm just excited for all that there is still to learn.
So, who was it that put that article out?
Cycling Weekly.
Cycling Weekly.
With Lisa.
Yeah. It's a good article. It's a good article.
That was a fun interview for sure. It's always a fun space when it's like, I'm just talking to a group of women right now. Like, I don't want to make it about gender, and designing these bikes that's not even a focus. But it is fun to see that representation in an industry that it's a minority still. So that was a really fun interview.
It's a male-dominated industry. Yeah, there's been a lot of change to it, but anyone that says it's still not male-dominated is kidding themselves at this point. Hopefully, that change continues to happen, and I'm sure it will. I mean, you're helping it change, frankly.
Yeah.
I read the article as well. It was an awesome article, and cool to hear. I mean, to learn about. We didn't know each other prior to this interview, really. So cool to learn about you in that way. Something I'm going to go completely off script here on the 32-inch Fargo. I want to hear about this tandem bike ride. That was 24 hours.
My husband, at the time boyfriend, there's this event in Powderhorn, which is where I live. South Minneapolis is a great place to be. It was called Powderhorn 24, and it was a 24-hour race bike event, 5-mile loop, and you just tried to see how many laps of that loop that you can get. And there's categories that you could, place in, and there's a category that is tandem. And I had done it the year prior, and I was like, you see like 2, maybe 3 tandems. Like, that's so cool. And so I was just talking about that with Andrew, and he's like, yeah, we should do that. And so it was like maybe a month before the actual event. We were like, we gotta get a tandem bike. So we're on like Craigslist. We're going to all these places like after work, after school, to try to find one. And luckily, I mean, one of our coworkers happened to have one that he wanted to get rid of. So we took that. And it's so funny because neither of us, we were mechanics. We knew some things, didn't know anything about bike geometry. And Andrew was the captain. I was the stoker. And again, bike being fashion, I was like, we got to put drop bars because then you can have fun, like bike tape on it. Like you can just add all the color that we want to this bike. I'm like in Andrew's butt, like riding this bike. If I'm in the drops, like it's not comfortable. So, and it's also funny because Andrew and I, like when we come to a stop, we have different legs that we go to. And so it's like trying to learn that of like just trying to learn to ride together, but then also like that balance aspect. It was a wild endeavor.
What leg do you like to put down?
I put my right leg down.
I put my left leg down.
I think most people do put their left leg down.
Yeah. That's so funny. I'm just like picturing the jarring experience of like, whoa, where are you going?
Yes. Yeah. We had maybe ridden it like 3 times before the event too. So we're still trying to like work out those kinks. But we did 60 miles on it. So
that's awesome.
Awesome.
Is the tandem sitting in the garage next to the Bianchi?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Nice.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So one day we'll get it up and riding. Or maybe if I can find a salsa powder keg, that would also be fun.
Are your engineering dreams looking towards building a 32-inch tandem?
Oh my gosh. I hadn't even thought of that. So that would be a fun endeavor.
Well, you're talking about the geometry and the drop bars. I'm like, I guess that's the cool thing about being an engineer is.
Oh yeah.
In my head, it actually makes some things easier.
I think it would.
Yeah.
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 I'm picturing dropper post.
Powder keg 32.
Exactly.
You heard it here first.
I'll push for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's exactly the type of thing that I feel like, we talk about just like not taking ourselves too seriously on bikes. And that is just one of those things that, so fun, so ridiculous. I love like the idea and then, okay, now we have to put the work in to find this thing and, and then the commitment to getting all the way to the start line and then doing it is just awesome. How long ago was that?
Oh, that was 2019, the summer of 2019. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So
yeah.
What this is a 2-part question, I guess. Mm-hmm. Is the future of bike design, what your thoughts are towards that, and then also within that question, I guess, is how do you see your role within the future of bike design?
Besides the 32-inch tandem bike.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the next project. Well, it's kind of interesting because again, like history repeats itself. We're going through that now with this wheel size addition. I feel like there are still things as bike engineers that like they're always just like a constant challenge, and a lot of that does center around smaller riders, but again, bookends will have kind of similar experience. So I feel like there's still like there's maybe a persistent question of fit, and that we're always still working and striving to improve or just give new opportunities. I think like expanding the size range on these 32-inch bikes is also in our future. Like Fargo 32 is a solution. It's a great one, but there's still more to figure out. And I think, we need to get some feedback too from consumers, from the public.
Yeah.
And so that will definitely be, I think, a focus on near fit future. Um, and I think for myself, like I mentioned before, I still have a lot to learn, and um, I'm just excited to just keep making those better experiences, selfishly for myself, but also for other people too. One more butts on bikes, bring that joy to more people.
For sure. For sure. Would you, somebody says, they're, I don't know, in high school or junior high, and they say, hey, I'm thinking about becoming an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you'd encourage them to?
Yes, I being in maybe like a, I'll say broader sense, outdoor industry, or like any type of sport or passion that you can apply engineering to. Like that was one, I think, of my downfalls as an early graduate or someone looking for internships. Like I was really big into climbing in college, and I wanted to work for Black Diamond so badly. Like I was like, how do I get my in? Like who do I know someone there that I can like just cold call or just have a little interpersonal interview. Um, and I was so focused on that. I was like, I have to be an engineer in the outdoor industry. And I think my biggest piece of advice for anyone that kind of wants to be on a similar path is you don't have to do it right away. Like you get the job that you can get. You're gonna gain skills that are applicable into maybe that field that you would prefer to be in. It's all good experience. You're gonna learn more about yourself. Um, and so I think just like having that patience with yourself and just gotta figure it out and everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because you mentioned you were not you haven't been in the cycling industry for a long time, and to be able to, you know, have a seat at the table from a design perspective and say like, I don't need to understand the exact ride feel quality of all of these things to like
Yeah.
begin at the problem is huge. And this is, I mean, yeah, sounds like a dream job to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm proof that specifically for the cycling industry, you don't have to have that background and you can still make it because most likely if you want to be in this industry, you're passionate about it. And even if you're not like the most avid cycler, you like to do it. That was my experience. Like you can still find your place.
Yeah.
It's tough because like these industries are smaller. Like it's just the opportunities are fewer. Um, but that's why it's like your path can be winding and you can get to be where you want to be.
That's good advice. So the weekend rolls around, and then, the weekend comes to an end, and it's Monday morning. And what has you stoked to go into work, and or to not go into work if you're working remote? But what has you stoked to work?
I think that one big difference from the last industry that I was in is like, and I don't want to discredit if any of those people at my last job are listening to this, like they were great people. But I think the people here at Q do make a difference. Like it's fun to go to work. Like it's fun to share a similar passion, a similar interest with my coworkers. Um, it just makes it more relatable. You can have a better, um, I don't know, it just makes it easier to work with my coworkers. And then it is maybe not so stiff of a relationship either that I feel comfortable asking people what might be a dumb question or just like all the questions because I have so many. So like Q has been really welcoming to me on this journey because again, I knew nothing. I knew very little about bikes. And so now having the competence in a bike shop and with all these tools, there's so many tools. So it's like
Yeah.
that makes a huge difference. And then I also think from just like an engineering like interest, like I mentioned earlier, like there's something new every day. Like this job has its challenges. You might think you're done with a project, and at that sweet moment when you just like stamp things and you're like, all right, it's kind of off my plate for a little bit. Then you wake up the next day and it's like, no, okay, we didn't, something's going wrong, or we didn't think of everything. And that's product design in general. Like you're not going to think of everything on a product. Like there's always room for improvement in the future. And so I think that keeps it very entertaining. That's what I like about this job.
I have a good story in that regard too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have the product any longer, but we used to make the Size-O-Matic sizing stem.
Okay.
And this is back when we used to go to Interbike, and a sample that was showable got brought to the show, hand carried, so we could have it in our booth. That's the first people were going to see of it.
Okay.
And one of the first people that saw it said, "So I have to cut my steer to use it?" And the product designer looked at it and said, "Oh man." and
I'll be right back.
That was the version of the Size-O-Matic that did not go into production until some more changes were made. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's the theme of the episode, being perspectives, right? What's the value of various different perspectives in getting lots of hands on a project?
Exactly.
No kidding.
Makes a difference.
Yeah.
So we like to do a little rapid fire section at the end of each episode.
Okay.
All right. So first thing that comes to mind, favorite bike you've ever owned?
Joan does hold a special place in my heart, but I think my favorite bike was the Salsa Marrakesh. And it's not to plug the brand that I work for, but that was my first like real bike, I'll say, like the one that I was like, I'll dish some money out for this. And I rode that bike maybe in ways that it wasn't intended for. Like I never went on a touring, like a long trip with that bike. I actually climbed canyons in Salt Lake City with that bike. Like that was my favorite place to ride it, but it gave me, the access, like the experience or new experiences to understand, like, actually I like this about riding my bike, or like I want to do that. And I think like that's also a really important experience of maybe I'm not riding this bike in the way it's intended, or maybe I don't have all the coolest gear, or like I don't look like the person next to me on the road, but having that experience is like, that's a good experience too. You're going to learn from that. It's like, it's humbling too, but then it gets you just back into that mindset of like, who is like the person picking up this bike for the first time, and like, what's it like to be a beginner on the bike?
Yeah. And should we all look alike while we're riding bikes? Because
no,
maybe we shouldn't.
No.
I guess I'll make this a two-parter. Coffee, ? And if yes, coffee before or after a ride?
Or during.
Coffee, yes. I think I'm normally after a ride. And I guess it depends on the type of ride. Like, if I'm like trying to put a big day in, I honestly might not even have coffee that day. Because I don't have time to sip it. One of my like least favorite things is like you make a cup of coffee, but then you don't have the time to just like sit and drink it. Like, I don't want to drink my hot coffee like on the go.
Nobody wants to chug their coffee.
No.
Or it's making sweat bead up on your forehead.
Exactly. So if I can prevent that situation, that's what I'll do.
One cycling product you wish someone would invent. This has to be a challenging question for if you put it to an engineer.
We won't hold it to you. You don't have to invent it. You can wish someone else will do it.
I think from like a non-serious point, like one thing that just came to mind of like what's something that's a pain point of riding my bike is like if there was just like a buffer or like a force field or some way to just like let gnats know like I'm coming. I do not want to eat a bunch of gnats on this ride. And biking around water, like
Yeah.
you're gonna bike through a gnat cloud. It's just like so front and center. And so it's just, and then they get stuck in your helmet or like your glasses, just a little one. And I'm always one for like, yeah, I'll let a bug hitch this ride with me, but there's something about gnats. So on an
Matt's force
unserious note,
field is an
yeah.
awesome answer.
Yeah, and let's have it work on black flies and
Oh, yeah.
mosquitoes as well. Like we just a bit an invisible barrier.
Right, yeah. No, I haven't actually experienced the black flies yet. So
Oof.
there are rides that I want to do, but I'm like, I know that that's an experience on that ride. And I'm like, ooh.
A dream place to test ride a new bike?
And again, Fargo is just on my mind. It's still my life. I really would love to have ridden that on like the Tour Divide or the Baja Divide, like somewhere out west, getting it in that mixed terrain, like where we aspire, where we want this bike to go. I think that would have been sick. And also, personally, like I think it's so cool that Danielle is riding the Tour Divide right now, and one day I hope to do that as well.
Nice.
Inspiration.
This one's the most underrated engineering detail on a bike.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough because it's like I think I just wish I want more people to know just how much time and effort goes on a single bike. Like we are asking like all of the questions, uh, but time is not a part of the bike. I think like maybe dropouts, any type of junction where a bunch of tubes are meeting. Those areas are the most challenging. And dropouts, there's so many details to make sure that you're uh, hitting those requirements. And you want to make them look cool because there's a lot of opportunity with dropouts as well on the fork and on the rear.
Yeah, that's super cool. I will definitely not look at a bike the same. And, you saying time is not on the bike, like it kind of is, even if it's not tangible, it's good, cool to have this conversation to give folks sort of the appreciation of, the process and the things that come up and that everything, it sounds like everything is built with a lot of intention and that's a lot of detail.
Yeah.
We do have a final question, but before we do that, Marie can ask that final question. But what's something that has you stoked from the bicycle world of late?
I liked the reminder about our coworker doing the Tour Divide. I think that when Danielle told me that she was doing that again, it was just like that's so cool. So that brought some initial stoke just at the start of this conversation. It's tough because like I sometimes struggle saying this as a bike engineer, as someone who's designing bikes. Like I'm trying not to be online. I don't have social media, and so it's like I might not be getting those like maybe like all the notifications or just some notifications. But one thing I did see, and I saw it late, which I'm kind of upset about, is last weekend there was the Babes in Bikeland Alley Cat. And I don't know the full history. Like this was just something that I had read about. But it started on the Greenway. Like they did a pre-ride in Powderhorn, which is where I live. So it's like so close to home, and it's a space for femme, trans women, non-binary people to enjoy and ride bikes together. And that gives me stoke because if we can create
Heck yeah.
more opportunities like that,
Yeah.
it's only going to be for the better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. Okay, Allison. So our final question is what we want to leave our listeners with, having chatted with you today. When someone throws a leg over a bike that truly fits them for the first time, what is it that you hope that they're feeling or experiencing?
First word that comes to mind is joy. I think just pure joy and having fun. is like one of the most important things for riding a bike. I think connection, whether that's to yourself, to the bike, or to your city or wherever you're riding it around. Like if you have a bike that truly fits you, like there is some freedom to that, and then you could maybe experience your favorite routes, your trails in a new light because maybe your knee or your wrist are not hurting you in that moment, or you're not stretched out. Like you can just be more present in that bike experience.
Yeah. And sometimes we don't know what we don't know about how comfortable it can be.
Totally. Yes.
Oh, Allison, it was such a treat chatting with you today. Thank you so much for joining us. For
Thank
folks
you.
listening, the Fargo 32 will soon be, if not is already available for you to pick up. We talked a lot about why you might want to do that and hope you will. It sounds like the folks at Salsa want to hear what you have to say about it,
Yes.
no matter how tall you are. Thank you, Allison. Micah, it was a pleasure as always. We've got a lot of cool episodes coming down the pipeline. Please follow along, subscribe if you like this, and we look forward to chatting with y'all soon. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Have a good one, y'all.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
See you.